Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very quiet episode of Fight Hard, Fight Clean. My vocal audio will probably go up later in the video as I get more settled, but for right now, I just got off of work and I want to talk about Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. I can happily and proudly say I bought the pay-per-view for this fight. It was completely worth every penny. Every fight was pretty competitive and pretty damn good. Here's the full card and I'll give you pretty much my basic thoughts on the whole thing. We got to look at the prelim. Joshua Edwards versus Brandon Colantonio. Colantonio, even though he lost the fight, he won the war. He's the only man in Edwards' career so far to have not been knocked out by him. So the fact Colantonio did that, and he's a great, charismatic guy, I think promotions are going to want to pick him up because he knows how to talk on a microphone. Amari Jones versus Luis Arias. Very, very good fight. Amari Jones put on a masterclass against Arias. Looks sharp as a knife. Bektemir Melikuziev versus Senya Agbeko. Yo, Melikuziev was so smooth, so quick, so agile, just so much movement from him that, like his nickname, he was able to bully a very stiff, stagnant fighter in Agbeko. Really funny. It reminded me of Zhang versus Wilder, actually, where Zhang landed the big shot and Wilder kind of turned around like, hey, what are you doing, man? And then ate a big right hand or left hand while his back was turned. Same thing with this fight. Melikuziev hit him with a right hand. He started talking to the ref about something like, hey, look at my chin, and then ate another one and he went down. The ref stopped it. I'm glad he stopped it because all respect to Agbeko, but there was no way he was going to make it back in that fight. Yeah, Melikuziev, I think he was searching too hard for the big right hand knockout. He was looking way too hard for the one punch knockout, and he was having more success with the combinations. And I think when you're looking too hard for the knockout, that's when it doesn't come. So if he kept setting up those combinations, I think he would have gotten the knockout naturally. If he was setting up the combinations from rounds 1 through 4 or 5, then it would have been a much earlier knockout. But because he was hunting too hard for that massive right hand one punch knockout, then it was almost delayed. Martin versus Albright. These guys put on a show. This was such a competitive and well fought fight. Both men hurt on different occasions. It was willpower. It was a matter of who wanted it more, and the fact that it was a draw means we get to see it again, hopefully. The fact we got a draw in this fight is disappointing, but the show they put on definitely makes up for it. Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiroka. Andy Hiroka with a fantastic performance for, just getting to the US after an 18-hour flight from Japan. Andy Hiroka, he started out trying to use his jab, trying to use his reach, and really not being kind of headhunting, not really looking for the big shots. Then when he started digging to the body, to the rib cage, to the liver, that's where he had a lot of success landing the heavy shots. For Gary Antoine Russell, I didn't know who this was, but I learned very quickly because he fights like a rabid animal. Whenever him and his opponent are close, he will literally turn into, like I said, a rabid animal, foaming at the mouth, and just start shoe-shining your body and your skull. They're not powerful punches that are going to knock you out or, make you take a knee, but they're scoring punches that probably set the copy box on fire. I think Gary Antoine Russell ended up getting the victory, but Andy Hiroka, again, very, very good performance. And the main event, obviously, Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So, let's get the main fact out of the way. Ryan Garcia is the new WBC Welterweight Champion of the world. Ryan Garcia had a fantastic performance. We finally got the Ryan Garcia back that beat Luke Campbell, beat Romero Duno, beat who else? Fonseca, one of the most vicious knockouts of Ryan Garcia's career. This is the Ryan Garcia we wanted to see for a long time, because even though Ryan Garcia put up a good performance against Devin Haney, it wasn't the Ryan Garcia of old. Even though he did really good in that fight, and I think he would do well again in another fight. We'll talk about that in a second. It wasn't the Ryan we all knew. And of course, in the Rolly Romero fight, the same thing applies. That wasn't the Ryan Garcia we know and love. Ryan Garcia is known for his left hook, or just his left hand in general. But it was his right hand that gave him success throughout this entire night. 29 seconds into the very first round, Garcia knocked Barrios down with a right hand. Ryan Garcia set it up with a jab right over the top. It went right over the top with guard too. Just beautiful, right on the equilibrium, sat him down. And then Ryan Garcia just did that for the remainder of the fight. I think it was just 12 rounds of Mario Barrios being very stagnant. He had concrete shoes. Every time Ryan Garcia came forward with combinations, all he could do was just high guard and absorb the impact. And the high guard wasn't doing anything. He was splitting the guard. He was going around the guard. He absorbed so much offense. And Ryan's left hand did come in use sometimes. But here's the thing. What I learned is Ryan Garcia, a lot of the times in this fight, was throwing out his right hand and his left hook by themselves. Just blatant, oi, rah. And that does work. He's done it before. It does work. But he had the most success when he set it up with his jab. So if he does get the Conor Benn fight, which we'll talk about in a second, the Conor Benn fight, the Devin Haney fight, I think what he learned from this is that if he wants to land those big shots again, he can't just, rely on one punch. He has to set it up with his jab. Even the knockdowns in the Devin Haney fight, the knockdowns came from jabs starting the combination, and he finished with a power shot, and that's what got through. There were a couple moments where Barrios showed, some fire, and he came forward, and Ryan kind of got flustered. He was going back to that silly shell where he was just kind of like, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to roll. Yeah, but the high guard was good. I kind of don't like how he's backing straight up, where again, Barrios would rush. He kind of just held up his high guard and kind of ducked away. Not the best means of defense, but if you're not getting hit, then who am I to judge? Like, here's the thing. I know I can say like, oh, it doesn't look the best. If you're not getting hurt, I can't judge your defense because apparently it's working. But apart from those main moments of Barrios lunging forward, trying to land some offense, Ryan Garcia dominated. It must have felt so good to do it in front of Joe Goose and his old trainer, and I don't know if he was saying he was betrayed to, play it on for the show, but regardless, he got the job done in a way that showed that I think this is the return of Ryan Garcia. So where does Ryan Garcia go after this fight? I have 3 names in my head right now that I think are next for Ryan Garcia and would be incredible fights. The Devin Haney rematch, Conor Benn, and Shakur Stevenson. Let's start with the Devin Haney rematch. It feels like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia have refurbished themselves. Devin Haney has showed the power he possesses at, I think 147 is the new weight he's at. Whatever he fought Brian Norman Jr. at, that is a Devin Haney not a lot of people expected. Devin Haney came out there to bang, and he was laying some pressure on Brian Norman Jr. So if we can get that Devin Haney versus this Ryan Garcia, no PEDs, no Osterine, we may have a fight that would be more entertaining than the first fight, and that's saying a lot. If it's not Devin Haney, I want Conor Benn. As you saw, Conor Benn absolutely shattered Eddie Hearn's heart by signing with Zuffa Boxing for a one-fight, I think it was a $10 million deal. Again, it's heartbreaking for Eddie Hearn because Conor Benn was one of the biggest Matchroom boxing stars. I don't know if it would be on Zuffa. I don't know if, Conor Benn's got something else planned. I don't know if Ryan Garcia goes over to Zuffa. I think Conor Benn, after the 2 Chris Eubank Jr. fights, he deserves a pedestal up to championship territory. Unless they give him Ryan straight away, I would set up Conor Benn versus Rolly Romero. I think that would make a lot of sense, because if Conor Benn fights Rolly Romero, the winner of that could then fight Garcia for the belt. And there's a lot of chattering going on about how Rolly Romero beat Garcia, but Garcia's the one that got the championship opportunity. If we can make Ben versus Rolly Romero, Conor Benn has a chance to, really show he's past the Eubank Jr. feud and move on to world championship territory. And Rolly Romero's here to prove, hey, I should have been getting the title opportunities because I'm the one that beat him. And then, of course, the final final fight. They faced off after the fight backstage, Ryan Garcia and Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson right now is 100% in the conversation for one of the best pound-for-pound boxers on the planet. I really want to try and find the full fight for Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson because I still haven't seen the full thing, and it makes me want to cry that I haven't seen that fight. However, I know how, again, disciplined Shakur is. Would Ryan have to stay composed and stay disciplined? Because there have been times that Ryan was just kind of like, this is fucking boring, and then just started going ham wild. That's what happened in the Gervonta Davis fight. I think Ryan said in an interview that Davis was kind of doing his thing. Ryan said, kind of got bored, and then he just started swinging on him, and that's when he got knocked down. So if that fight ever happens, it's going to fall back on Ryan to try and be as disciplined, if not more disciplined, than Shakur. Because if you're not going to win against him. It's like fighting a robot. It's like playing chess against a computer. I think Shakur's brain is so hardwired to following a game plan he needs to follow that he won't let anything get in his way. He defends when he needs to, defends, fires off a shot when he finds one, and then he's good to go. And if Ryan can't get into that hardwired mindset, he would lose that fight. Again, proving that Shakur Stevenson is one of the best in the world and should maybe start creeping up on the pound-for-pound rankings, especially because Usyk's been out of the game for a little bit. Overall, incredible fights to make. I would like to see all of them. The ring, high stakes, Barrios versus Garcia. I consider this a successful event. Again, just as a reminder, top 3 fights I want to see next for Ryan Garcia is the Devin Haney rematch, the Shakur Stevenson fight, or the Conor Benn fight. And actually, I'm going to change my Conor Benn placement to Conor Benn, the winner of Conor Benn versus Rolly Romero. So it would be Shakur, the winner of Rolly Romero and Conor Benn, and the Devin Haney rematch, because I think Conor Benn and Rolly Romero is what's really going to give us the best measure of who deserves the championship fight. Because again, Rolly already beat Ryan, but Conor Benn is looking to get into the championship picture. He thinks it's his time. So, what did you think of Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia? Let me know in the comments down below. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a bunch. Again, sorry for the quiet video, but I wanted to make this video as soon as possible because, again, I watched the fight. It's like going to a movie on the release day and being able to talk to your friends about it. It's like, oh, yeah, this happened. It was so cool. I feel like I just watched Iron Lung again. But, as always, my friends, fight hard, fight clean, and I'll see you soon.